Alright, what's up, people? It's less than 2 hours before kickoff, and I put off this video for a while just because I didn't really know what I wanted to say about it in regard to the game that we're actually playing today against the Cleveland Browns. My dad's actually going to the game today, and in terms of just this one game, it it's kind of tough because the Cleveland Browns, they're one of the worst teams in the NFL. They have an all-around terrible defense. They have an offense that has some capability, but ultimately at the end of the day doesn't score all that much. They're down at the bottom of the barrel. I don't know if they're the worst team, but they're certainly in the conversation. And when it came to trying to think about what I wanted to say about this game specifically, it's tough. I mean, we've got a couple injuries we're dealing with. I don't think Cam Chancellor is going to play today. If he does, I don't think he'll be 100%. And Cleveland's main target in the passing game has obviously been Gary Barnidge. We know how we can struggle against tight ends from time to time. So it's going to be another interesting test because we have I think we should have Deshaun Sneed out there today. And the idea, the hope is that having Deshaun Sneed out there in place of Kerry Williams makes everyone else's job a little easier and allows us to cover tight ends better. So that theory is going to get put to the test even more so today than it was in the last 2 weeks. So eyes are going to be on that. Travis Benjamin, he's the kind of guy who can get behind your defense and really annoy you over the course of 4 quarters. And the main thing I'm looking at is Cleveland has a really good offensive line. They got Joe Thomas, they got Alex Mack. They actually have one of the better offensive lines in football. If that can keep Johnny Manziel upright, things could happen. He's the kind of guy who can make plays down the field. Hopefully, he's also the guy who can give you a lot of turnovers just by making dumb mistakes. So as long as we can get a couple turnovers and take advantage of them, there is probably a point total that we can get to that will pretty much put this game away. Probably 20, maybe 24. And the way Russell Wilson is playing and the way the Cleveland Browns defense is right now, missing their top two cornerbacks, missing, I think, a couple other players as well. There's no reason why you shouldn't be able to go out there and just score enough points to put Cleveland well out of reach. But what's going on right now is a little bigger than this one game. Obviously, this week, Christine Michael was brought back off the Washington Redskins practice squad, and that was the biggest move of the week. There were a whole bunch of little moves that we made. We sent players to the practice squad. We cut players. We picked up players. Big one being Christine Michael, because he might actually play significant snaps for the next month. So to talk about it, as I look at this roster, what we have for the next 3 weeks probably, the important question that I'm asking myself is, on offense, are we ready to go to a high-volume passing attack? Defense, I pretty much know what the defense is about. They're really good. They're not as good as they were in the past couple seasons, but they're really good. And this offense, that's what you're looking at. Because we're down to 3 running backs who nobody wants to have to depend on. You've got Bryce Brown, who has a lot of talent, but he fumbles an awful lot. He has ball security issues. You got Christine Michael, same deal, talented but ball security issues. If at the end of the game the score is tied and we're trying to drive to kick a field goal, I don't trust either of those guys to keep the ball. And then you got Derek Coleman, who I actually do like, but he's a fullback, so you don't want to say too much good about him. And then you've got this quarterback who, over the past month, has been playing pretty much perfect. He's had one of the best 4-game stretches in the history of the quarterback position. So, with the situation being what it is, with Lynch and Rawls being out for 3 more weeks, and Rawls obviously being out for the whole season, is it time for this team to try out a high-volume passing attack? Because Russell Wilson has been dominant this season over the past 4 games, but he's been dominant without having to throw the ball that many times. I think he's played close to 60 games in his career. Actually, I think more than 60 games in his career now. He's thrown for more than 40 attempts once, and that was in week 1 against St. Louis this year. So he's been dominant, but he's done it with a controlled number of pass attempts. If we suddenly put it on him like, hey, you need to throw the ball 45 to 50 times a game, is he ready for that? I feel like he is. But then you look at the offensive line, who's been playing great lately. We've given up like 5 or 6 sacks in the last 4 games. They've been playing spectacular. Huge improvement over what we saw earlier in the season. Patrick Lewis's addition has completely changed the face of this offense. Russell Okung playing better. J.R. Sweezy playing better. Justin Britt playing better. Gary Gilliam, I didn't think that guy had it, but he seems like he does have it. I like Gary Gilliam a lot over these past few games. But now we're going to be asking them to do what they've been doing over the past 4 games, just for maybe 10 to 15 more pass attempts per game. You know, they've been doing great when it's 30 passes per game and the attack is balanced. Can we suddenly go, hey, we're pass first now? Offensive line, you guys got to hold up for 15 more passes per game? I kind of feel like they're up to it. So those 2 things, yeah, I have faith in Wilson, and I have faith in the offensive line if more gets asked of them. But I'm looking at these receivers. Doug Baldwin, always open, always making good plays, always doing his thing. He's pretty much unstoppable on those sideline drag routes on 3rd and short. He's unstoppable on those crossing patterns, constantly making big plays down the field. So Doug Baldwin, he's earned our trust. If we go to Doug Baldwin and we're like, hey, we need you to catch 10 passes a game for the rest of the season, because even when Lynch gets back, here's the thing, even when Lynch gets back, what's he going to be? We don't know. He could come back and he'll just be okay. Could come back and he'll be great. But we don't know. We might end up not being able to rely on him as much as we have the past 3, 4, 5 seasons. So, yeah, Baldwin, if we need him to become a guy who receives 14, 13 targets a game and we need him to get at least 10 catches, sure. Tyler Lockett, he's just a rookie, but he's getting open constantly too. He's making a couple big plays a game. We go up to him and we're like, hey, we need you to catch 8, 9 passes a game. We're going to throw the ball your way probably 12 times. Sure. And after that, do we have the personnel to do this? Because I think a lot of people would be entertained if we went to a, high throttle, full blow passing offense where we just threw the ball, 45, 50 times a game. Well, I know what Fred Jackson is. He's a guy who will come out there on 3rd down, passing situations, and he'll catch a couple passes out of the backfield, and he's one of the best in the game at it. So between those 3 guys who I know what we've got 20 catches. And we got to get to at least probably 30, maybe 35. So the guys I'm really going to be watching today, and the guys who really need to deliver over the next couple months, Jermaine Kearse, Luke Wilson, Kevin Smith. Jermaine Kearse, some days he's great. You can go look up his game logs. Some days he makes 5, 6, 7 catches. Some days he makes a big play. Some days he's there, but some days he's on a milk carton. He's invisible. He does nothing the whole game. You can go back and look this season. He gave us nothing against the Packers. He gave us nothing against the Panthers. He gave us nothing against the Cardinals. Gave us nothing in the Vikings game. We need him to be something every game for the rest of the season, because I think with the kind of offense that we're going to be needing to run the rest of the year, or at least for the rest of the regular season, he needs to make at least 4 to 5 catches a game. He can't be having these games where he disappears, especially when we've got Doug Baldwin being traced around the field by Patrick Peterson or Doug Norman or one of those elite guys, because that might happen eventually. Luke Wilson, he gets open. He's fast. He's athletic. He runs good routes. He could make a whole bunch of catches in a game. His hands have been good this year, and then we saw him, make a return last week to glorious toasterized action with the drop of the easiest touchdown catch he'll ever have in his career. Can't be having that. He's going to be a part of whatever we do for the rest of the season, and I want to see at least 3 to 4 catches a game from him. He's got to be a part of whatever this is going to be, because obviously if Jimmy Graham were here, I'd love that. I'd be like, hey, Jimmy Graham's going to catch 10 passes a game. That's going to be great. I trust him. That's awesome. Not here. Now you got to revise your expectations a little bit, but you still got to have Luke Wilson be part of it. And then finally, Kevin Smith. Some people really like Kevin Smith. Did some stuff in the preseason. He's shown some talent. He's flashed some stuff. But, you know, if we want to be this high-flying aerial attack, he's got to be part of it. He's got to make a couple catches a game. I know he's not, I don't think he's a rookie, but he's pretty much brand new. Need him to do something, because I'm telling you, when we get to the playoffs, because it looks like we're going to make it, if we've got Patrick Peterson shadowing Doug Baldwin all around the field and holding Doug Baldwin to 2 or 3 catches, and then you've got a safety over the top on Tyler Lockett, and he's just getting doubled, it's got to be somebody else. And I don't know how much faith I put in the other players on this team to step up and have big games in the receiving category. But those are the guys who have a chance. All right, post-game video coming later today. Couple things to watch for. Can't imagine we dropped this one, but there are just enough injuries on this team to where I'm like, it's not completely unreasonable. So let's just go out there, play well, and get out of there. See you guys later.